Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke. Rosemary, Maury Amsterdam, Larry Matthews, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Hello, Dick Van Dyke Show friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo, and today's episode is a guest star spotlight. I like to do guest star spotlights every now and then on my I Love Lucy content, so I thought I would do the same with the Dick Van Dyke Show. So this week we're looking at Herbie Faye. You're probably wondering, who's this? Well, he was a frequent guest star. He appeared in 6 episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show, but he is most well known for playing Willie, the delicatessen man who works in the office, and he always brings coffee or sandwiches, and he's a very lovable guest star. But let's get into his biography a little bit. So Herbie Faye was born on February 2nd, 1899 in New York City, and he passed away on June 28, 1980. He started his performance career in vaudeville, like many other actors in the early 1900s, 1920s. He worked with Mildred Harris and someone who would become his good friend, Phil Silvers. In 1928, Phil Silvers was actually supporting Herbie Faye, but years later on the Phil Silvers Show, it would be the other way around, and Herbie would be supporting Phil. Herbie also performed on Broadway in the 1940s and 50s, appearing in Wine, Women, and Song and Top Banana. He appeared in the 1954 film version, which also starred Phil Silvers and Rosemary, 2 people that he would later work with once again. In TV, though, Herbie is best known as a guest star, despite his small roles in various films. In the 1950s, he was a regular on the Phil Silvers Show. He played Corporal Sam Fender, and he was in 138 episodes. And so this show is the one that he's most well known for. He was really good friends with Phil Silvers, and this show occupied most of his time in the 1950s. In the 1960s and 70s, he guest starred on a variety of television shows, and this includes The Untouchables, Make Room for Daddy, as well as the new Phil Silvers Show. He appeared on that once again. The Jack Benny Show, The Joey Bishop Show, Bewitched, The Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle USMC, I Dream of Jeannie, Petticoat Junction, Here's Lucy, and The Odd Couple, and Doc. And so he appeared in multiple television shows, and of course, the Dick Van Dyke Show, which we're going to be looking at his episodes. So he appeared in 6 episodes, and we're going to get into these episodes individually, really look at these episodes. So the first episode is Where Did I Come From? And this introduces us to Willie. He's the coffee man and delicatessen. He brings coffee and sandwiches. Basically, he brings the lunch to the writers. And so that's great. But in this episode, Rob is frantic because Laura's going to have the baby. And Willie, he's always in the way, and it makes for a really hilarious scene.
All right.
In the third act.
All right. Coffee time. Can't you watch where I'm going?
Hey, where'd you steal a locomotive?
That's good. You want some coffee?
Yeah, I think I will. And how about Rob? He could use some.
Okay.
Yeah, black, Willie.
Yeah, Willie, I'll have some tea.
You got it.
Rob, why do you let him bring his wagon in here?
How else can I show my stock? You want a nice fresh donut or a cruller?
No, thanks.
How about a nice piece of cheese Danish? Prune Danish, apple, almond paste, bear claws, bow ties, honey buns, bran muffin, corn muffin, plain butter cookies.
You got any tapioca pudding?
Not today. How about some rice pudding?
Oh, good.
Not today.
Please have him serve the coffee and go.
Please, Willie, will you serve the coffee and go?
What's the matter, Mr. Cooley? Can't stand to see me make a buck?
Here's a buck. Go.
I'm going.
Please serve the coffee and go. We've got work to do.
What do you think this is, a hobby or something? My pleasure.
No, mine.
Yeah, he's here. Hey, Rob, it's your wife. I think this is it.
Hand me the phone.
What's that? The Danish with the hell claws.
I'm sorry. I'll pay for it all.
You're gonna pay for
I'll
it?
pay for it.
Walk on him. Walk.
Rob, here's the phone. Right in the eye.
You want a piece of ice?
No thanks. Look.
Hey, meat is good for that. I got a beef bun here.
Next is One Angry Man. In this episode, Herbie is not playing Willie. He's just another random guest star. He's in the jury that Rob is a part of in this episode. And Herbie knows immediately that the woman on trial, she's guilty. And it's a nice episode featuring him. But the next episode is The Two Faces of Rob. And this is a great episode featuring Herbie. He's really great as a guest star in this episode. He's once again seen as Willie. And he brings the sandwiches for lunch. But he gives his input. He gives his opinion about the story idea that the writers are thinking about. And it's a really great moment.
All right. Lunchtime.
What kind of lunchtime? It's 4:30.
Dinner time. A little late. I only got 2 hands. Here's your pastrami. Just the way you like it. Not too fat, not too lean. Mustard on the bottom, mustard on the top.
Willie,
Piece of lettuce,
hold
just a small.
Hold the commercial, will you? That's right. Somebody else has to call her, but who?
Why don't he ask his boss and have him call?
Got to be a complete stranger. Somebody his wife doesn't even know.
Now, he could call himself and say his car broke down.
No, I don't like that. Maybe I'm stupid, but I don't see why his boss can't call for him.
Hey, we got to get a new delicatessen.
What's the matter?
You haven't come up with a fresh idea in months.
I only got 2 hands.
Yeah, and you only got 2 feet. Why don't you use them? Get out of here.
Now, listen to me.
Oh, leave him alone.
I like her.
Next is When a Bowling Pin Talks, Listen. Again, Herbie is appearing as Willie, the delicatessen. In this episode, Rob is pitching an idea about a talking bowling pin. And it's a great idea. But then Willie comes in and he says, well, I'm not sure this is an original idea. And so he helps out the writers, and it's a great moment.
You know, I think I'm going to become a comedy writer. Sit around all day like you guys and laugh at each other.
It's not that easy, Willie. It took us all week just to get one idea.
I could be a writer. I could lie on a couch and insult people as well as he can.
Better.
I like you.
Why is it every place I go, I always run into you?
Kismet. Talking bowling pin.
I suppose you could have done as good.
Look, anybody can be a genius if all it takes is stealing.
Stealing?
All you got to do is watch the Uncle Spunky show.
The Uncle Spunky Show? What are you talking about?
Look, if I were you, I wouldn't say anything until I saw my lawyer.
Are you trying to tell us we stole that from the Uncle Spunky Show?
Well, that's close enough.
Willie, that's impossible. We wrote it right here no more than an hour ago.
All by ourselves.
Oh, yeah? Just a minute. This is about a talking bowling pin, right? Standing at the end of the alley, and people are rolling balls at him.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, boy, that pin boy's got cold hands. I shouldn't have worn my open-toe shoes. Lines like that?
Oh, boy.
Hey, how come we missed the one about the open-toed shoes?
You didn't get that one? What kind of crooks are you? If you're gonna steal, steal.
Next is Brother, Can You Spare $2,500? In this episode, Herbie is not Willie. He's just a random guest star. Rob lost a very important script for the Alan Brady show. And so they go to the Lost and Found at the train station, and Herbie is guest starring. He plays the man who runs the Lost and Found. And it's a great little scene with him. And he has a nice guest star spotlight in that. And lastly is Stacey Petrie Part 2. This is the last time we see Herbie on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and he plays Lou. So in this episode, Rob's brother Stacey is visiting, and he's actually wanting to start his own nightclub. And Lou works at this nightclub, and so this is Herbie's guest star character for this one episode. He has one scene, but it's a great scene. Now, Herbie did have a number of film roles throughout the 1940s, 50s, 60s, even the 70s, but the majority of his film roles were uncredited. So he didn't get credit for a lot of his work, and that's unfortunate. It's very sad. But of course, he is most well known for his guest star roles. Looking at his personal life a little bit, not much is known about his life. I do know that he was married to Mary Lou Faye until his death on June 28, 1980 in Las Vegas. A cause of death is not reported. I don't know how he died, so I assume it's just from natural causes, old age, and he was 81 years old. And that's it. That's all I have for you this week. Herbie Faye is remembered best as Sam Fender on the Phil Silvers Show, his long relationship with Phil Silvers, but he was a guest star in so many television shows. Of course, this includes the Dick Van Dyke Show. He played Willie, and he's a pretty memorable guest star. That's probably why I thought to feature him first, is because he's a funny character. He's there at the delicatessen, and he's there to give coffee, and it's a pretty great guest star role. And so I hope you enjoyed this look at Herbie Faye's life and career. I hope you learned something new. Let me know what you liked best in this video, and I'll be happy to read that. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. And remember to always laugh often.